Hello, everybody. Welcome to AmericanCivilDebate.com. I'm here with Matt, and I'm here with TJ. And how are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
I'm doing good. How are you?
And TJ, how are you?
I'm peachy, my brother.
All right. So, Matt, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Oh, man, we're going to go in the wide world of COVID relief funds and long spiels, long-winded takes, and see how it's affecting, American economics and the world economics. And
let me ask you this. Do you think it really helped out at all?
Nope.
Honestly,
well,
TJ?
To a point. You look at it. No, not really. Sorry. No.
Hey, this is the thing. For some people, who were initially impacted, that worked in hospitality, restaurant industry, entertainment, travel, those people who were directly affected immediately because of this, yes, I think it did help them out. There was a lot of them that had to pay their rent. A lot of them couldn't make their car payments. Restaurants are shut down. Those people, I feel it definitely benefit. But the nuts and berries to this is it'd be one thing if the whole $1.9 trillion went to every American citizen out there that needed the money. But point in fact is it didn't. I mean, there was a lot of things that are earmarked in that $1.9 trillion.
But let me ask you this, but hold on. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think it helped? I mean, it gave money to corporations and stuff like that. It's kind of like another bailout for that. You know what I mean? At taxpayers' expense. But what about the people that were really poor to begin with that couldn't afford? You know what I mean? I mean, I understand that they got unemployment and stuff like that. But do you think the stimulus check helped them out at all, or do you think they just spent it all getting big screen TVs and stupid crap like that, and then they're broke being the same way? Or do you think a lot of people actually utilize that money to help themselves out or whatever? You know what I mean? It's like, pardon me, I'm sorry. It just seems like to me that I think it helped a lot of people out, but I mean, like given to the corporations. And I understand where you're coming from with the 1.9 trillion, right? But how much actually went towards the people? Like $500 billion or something? What wasn't it?
It was $350 billion.
$350 billion. Isn't that crazy?
Out of $1.9 trillion. Now, and this is the thing. When I talk about when you look at the breakdown of that $1.9 trillion, for instance, the bill included an $86 billion bailout for failing pensions.
And for states, too.
So now let's look at this. You have a company whose pension is failing before COVID ever hit, and we just took our hard-earned tax-pay dollars to bail it out.
We did
because of bad management, of the pension fund, and it's generally because of the way that these, CEOs and corporations or board of directors or labor unions and stuff who are in charge of, investing this money. And what have they invested in? All in programs that have failed.
Well, okay. Here's where I want to go with this for just a second. I mean, you look at from Obama administration. Well, okay, let's start with the Bush administration all the way to the Obama administration to Trump and Biden. Now, with the Bush administration, you remember how many government agencies they had?
Oh, yeah. You mean all the ones that are coming back into the fold now?
Right. But, I mean, what I'm saying is taxpayers are paying all this money for so many different government agencies, and it's a crock of crap. Why are we having all these government agencies? I mean, when you sit there and you think about the government has gotten way too big. You know what I mean? And I don't know, it's just crazy the way, if you look at it like through the Bush all the way to Obama to Trump, and you remember Trump started slashing a lot of those government agencies, and now they're all coming back. You know what I mean? It's just scary to think that we let the people of this country let that get so big. The government got big because we were complacent and we didn't vote in the right people when we should have. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you this: with the COVID bailout and all the companies who were going down before COVID, you think it was like a godsend for them to have this plan in place set for them that they could take advantage of?
You want to go first, TJ?
Read that one by me again one more time.
So when all the COVID bailout, right?
Yeah.
And how it's helping the failing businesses. The businesses that were failing before COVID, do you feel that this was a godsend for them, that they could write this off and claim COVID was a factor for them failing?
Well, this is the thing. Up until everybody filed their taxes this year, everything was being based on the previous year's tax returns. So when you look at the stimulus checks, if you did well in 2019, you weren't getting a full stimulus check in 2020 when they first started rolling them out. And then it wasn't until after people filed their taxes from 2020 that all of a sudden changed for the third stimulus package. For the failing businesses that were failing before, I think that there is certain guidelines they follow. You have to show that you took your loss, I believe, in the year 2020 because of that. And if you look at it, you had a lot of big corporations that were going in for this bailout money. A lot of it didn't go to small
also,
average guys.
COVID didn't shut down businesses. I remember when I was working at the bar, it didn't shut down the business until St. Patrick's Day. So you had, if you're still claiming you had losses in 2020, you have 3 months to claim that you had losses before COVID was a giant factor.
Yeah, but you got to remember, most of the people that are when it comes to tax purposes, those first 3 months versus the other 9 months in the year, it's going to be a drastic difference. But it was the ones who benefited the most, or the ones that had bad years, actually in 2019, because that's how far they went back for the verification on the taxes.
How much fraud do you think? How much fraud do you think that we've had through all this?
They've already arrested people for a lot of fraud for the PPP loan frauds. I mean, you look at the guy that was here in Fort Myers. They filed for PP loans through the stimulus bailout money.
And bought a
the
boat
guy he bought a boat, $500,000 boat, a $1.2 million house on Captiva Island. And
we won't mention names, but I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about. I won't mention name either because unfortunately that company name is not actually affiliated with that gentleman's name anymore. It hasn't been for a while. It was his grandfather that started the company and sold out. He hasn't had anything to do with it, but his name went out there because they went on a PR campaign like you wouldn't believe after that was reported locally. He wasn't involved with them. But you definitely had people that were doing that. I mean,
there's also another local guy who did that as well, who I won't mention the name of, but is very wealthy. Very wealthy.
Did he just sell a car dealership?
No. He.
All right, let's don't name names.
I'm not naming names. I'm thinking of a way that I can put it.
What kind of industry was he in?
Restaurants.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It just hit me for a second. There's some slimy restaurant owners out there, aren't there?
Look, man, you don't become a national chain of restaurant stuff without screwing somebody over or something over at one point in time.
Hey, it's just taxpayers' money.
Yeah, that's. But you know what? This is the thing, guys. When we talk about the stimulus fund, and we talk about the money that people it should have gone to, people it shouldn't have gone to, they threw so much money out there so quick, so fast to stimulate the economy, to keep the economy up and running. But look at what we've paid for that. I mean, not just literally out of our pockets and the amount of taxes, but you look at where we're at with inflation on the American dollar right now. And with the new budget plans that they've got, pitched by the White House, we're going to exceed 117% of our GDP. Essentially, we're going to be worth less than what we owe.
That's weird, isn't it?
I mean, aren't we already less than what we owe because we still owe China a shit ton of money?
I have a feeling you're going to see that fall out into sorry about the COVID release. We're going to write off $28 trillion of your debt.
I don't see that happening.
Do you think they're ever going to pay the damn thing anyways?
Well, I mean, aren't they trying to sue China with the whole the whole virus now because they found out Fauci was paying into it, and so was Obama and everything like that?
Well, this is the thing. Obama had actually stopped gain of function research. Fauci kind of backdoored him and went through somebody who was a lesser bureaucrat that actually got it approved. Now, you could play with the wording of how it's written up to where he can legally say, I didn't know. I gave him money for this research. I gave the money to this guy for this research. He then, in turn, took the money and spent it at the Wuhan lab. So, you see what I'm saying? It's plausible deniability. But he's been caught. Fauci's been caught.
Well, I mean, there's also emails. I don't know if you guys saw this. I saw this the other day. It was a email from Fauci to another World Health Organization person, saying that the masks were only for the infected people. It didn't really help the people who were uninfected, but even then, the people who wore the mask who were infected, it didn't help.
No, the whole mask thing, it was all theater. It was all show.
Yep.
But here's the thing: didn't the multimedia people help spread that out for them too? Knowing,
absolutely.
I mean, just like they lied about the numbers and
Hey,
everything
hey,
else.
I just want to go back to this narratives.
Well, we already know. Okay, let me. I want to read this to you. This is from the Department of Treasury to a friend of mine. She sent this to me. It's about the CTC payments that go out to, I guess, what is that? Child care or child?
I don't know. You got the abbreviation for CTC right in front of you.
Child tax credit. Okay,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry. Forgive me. It says they're eligible up to $3,000, and we were talking about this earlier. And you said that some families can make up to $109,000.
Yeah. So what we were watching on the news the other day, they had a whole pie chart and everything like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a family of 4 with unemployment insurance, the stimulus checks, and something else. It was saying that they could earn up to $109,000 a year with everything that's going on now and all the benefits and everything like that.
And that's our federal government giving that to them, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Venezuela.
Well, no, I mean, but okay, let's basically see. Let's just say what's really going on. They're trying to buy the people off of socialism. I mean, honestly, let's be for real. Do you think they're not trying to buy the people off of socialism?
That's what socialism is.
But that's their whole agenda. That's the whole agenda
right
right there. Is they're trying to push socialism in and make people happy with it. Hey, smile because we're giving you free money until there's nothing left with the inflation and everything else. I mean,
well, let me ask you this real quick, and this is kind of going off topic, but it's kind of not. All right, so America is what 240, 50, 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Close.
Roughly.
So 247.
So we're pretty much the youngest nation in all of the world. Right?
Right.
So do you still think we're in our growing pains and learning how to work shit out compared to,
I don't think
England and Switzerland and everything like that? So you don't feel America is still in the infancy?
I don't think so. I think America was founded on greatness, like it said. But I think the people have been too complacent with what's going on and just because you're Republican or Democrat, you just don't go and vote for that person because you got to make sure that they're doing the will of the people and they're not doing the will of the people. They're making money off of us, and they're making money. They're selling off our power to each other. You know what I mean? It's like,
what do you think, TJ?
Goes back to our founding fathers when they wrote the Declaration of Independence and when they wrote the Constitution. I forgot which one it was that said it, but they said, "We have given you a democracy. Now it's up to you to keep it." And when he said what he meant by that was you can't let government grow too big.
Like they have already.
Like they have. And that's exactly what it is. We've let government take over or become involved in every aspect of our life.
But whose fault is that?
It's the
it's the American people. That's it. I mean,
it's the American people, but it's also. But the thing is, it's the American people, but it's the politicians as well. It's the politicians that are elected into office who say one thing and do another. It's the ones that don't believe in the founding our foundation as a country and as a nation. I mean, you look at what happened today. Representative Omar actually compared the United States to Hezbollah and the Taliban.
But that's all she's doing is shaming people. Though. I
But
mean, let's just be for real.
That is a Congress member of the United States of America comparing our country, which gave her her freedoms and her liberties and the ability to succeed and become a congresswoman, compare us to Hezbollah and the Taliban.
But does that really?
You want to know where we went wrong?
Oh, absolutely. We know where we went wrong.
I want to make a joke, but I'm not going to say it. I was going to say women's rights when that happened. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, man. All the hate mail's coming to
Yeah,
you. But,
perfect.
but my point is...
With Foshin with his no ma'am shirt on, that's good.
Hey, thank you very much. I only wear that every once in a while. But I guess my point is, if we're looking at it, I mean, this whole thing's about money and power. And a lot of Democrats and then a lot of Republicans are doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like you got some good Democrats and you got some good Republicans. But the rest of them, they're almost completely destroying our country. And Khrushchev said it back in, 68, 69, that America, don't worry about America. They're going to destroy themselves within. And
we're coming to it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it.
it's like, hey, he's right about that. I mean, we all got to start waking up and start putting the right people into office, and not just because one party says, well, we got to get this person in here. I mean, we've been watching for the last, 9 or 10 years, and how many, and be honest, how many Republicans have let you down, TJ? Honestly.
The Republicans?
No, honestly, how many Republicans have said one thing and totally screwed us royally?
Hey, the old elitists that you said, the old Republican Party from the, I'd say late 80s, early 90s. But you got to remember, there's a lot more to it.
No, I understand that, but in the last 15 years...
You got to call balls and strikes. I mean, when you talk about, the last one that really screws over was the one that was the Speaker of the House.
Paul Ryan. When he didn't run again, and then he went out there and tried his best to hurt Trump. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I like all those Republicans, when we lost the House in 2018, all those people retiring. Why were they retiring, honestly? They weren't trying to help the country out. They sold out or retired because they had a lot of stuff going probably against them pretty soon. But my point is, they screwed us. They totally screwed us. Just like in 2009, McCain and Sarah Palin going up against Obama. You know what I mean? And Joe Biden. I'm just saying the Republican Party has screwed us just as much as the Democrats have in certain areas, in Congress, the Senate, and other things. You know what I mean? They've sold us out for money and power too. I mean, it's easy to sit there and say, well, the liberals are loony, they're doing this, they're doing that, Democrats are doing this and doing that. But how many of those Republicans went along with it and were too scared to talk because they were getting shamed on national TVs and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Well, it's like the multimedia has shamed these people into not saying anything because they were all scared to be racist because Obama was in office, right?
Now let me. It's not only being racist. How many of them have a shady past? How many of them have done something wrong to where they don't want to be outed?
But how many politicians have done something wrong where we're paying money for sexual harassments and stuff like that? I mean, you look that shit up and you're like, Jesus Christ! Well, it's taxpayers' money is paying for this crap.
Well, exactly. And I'm sorry, any government official that gets brought up on allegations of either sexual misconduct should have to get due process. Absolutely, 100%. The facts need to be presented, and it needs to go to a grand jury and so on and so forth. I don't think the taxpayer should have to pay for it. Absolutely not. But when you look at how our money's spent, we're talking.
But you see where we're going with all this, though, right?
It's understand.
Like wasted money.
Getting back to the COVID relief portion of this, what we're talking about, where that money is actually going. Okay, you got all these politicians that are going into the socialist programs that want to sit there and give money away and give money away, give money away. When we spend money for gender studies in Afghanistan from a COVID relief package, but yet we can't help the homeless in our own damn country.
There is one city, I can't remember what city it is, but they're building a Kansas. They're building multiple houses for homeless veterans to go live in for free.
Yeah, and it takes somebody, and there's actually, I think there's more than one town or city that's doing
probably
that's starting to do that. But are they using the COVID relief money for that?
No, it's all tax money.
It's all tax money. But see, that's coming from the taxpayers from Kansas.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Our we all put into this big global pot, or for the United States. We all put our money into so much money into the country as a whole. And the first things that should be taken care of are things at the homeland. It should not be for gender studies in Afghanistan.
You take care of shit that's on the soil. You take care of your own people.
Yeah, I mean, you got some of these crazy environmental studies, to discover, how the damn wigwam worm fucking mates in Africa. I don't care. That's not something I really care about. You know what I'm saying? I care about the veteran who's homeless on the streets that can't get his medications that might drop dead tomorrow from standing in 98-degree heat. Because we can't put them in housing, or we can't get them the mental care, or we can't get them the health care.
Or we're kicking them with the squatting law. They can't be on that corner. So the police are out there wasting their time moving a homeless veteran versus when they can go be dealing with a shooting or anything like that. Exactly.
I tell you what, the one thing that happened to me the other day, I was driving back from going to one of my favorite sporting goods stores, and I was getting off the off-ramp at Colonial Boulevard here in Fort Myers, and there was a homeless guy that he had been partial amputee, and he's walking out there. So he's coming by, and I see him walking. I call him over, and I give him a $20 bill. And he's like, man, thank you so much. It's like, here. And I had a fresh bottle of water. I said, here's a bottle of water. I said, that's what I can give you, bud. He's like, I appreciate it. the chain reaction it started after I stuck out and held my hand out there and handed that gentleman money. And I looked in my rearview mirror because then the car behind me honked at him. The car behind that. And all of a sudden, everybody's arms started coming out with something. All it takes is that one spark to light a fire.
Right.
And the thing is that people generally are good natured and we want to take care of our own. But there's certain things that we got to get under control first. One is our damn government and how we're spending our money. We need to spend it at home for our people here. Once we make our country whole again for the people that are here, and everybody has the chance to prosper and be happy, study your religion that you want, be with somebody you want regardless of your race, creed, color, sexual preference. That's what America's about. But we need to start here at home first before we start anything overseas.
Oh, yeah.
So you're looking at the financial aid. How much financial aid went overseas, you think?
Way more than what should have.
I can tell you that on just a couple of items that were earmarked, we spent another $2 billion out of a planned $4 billion to COVAX to help with vaccines across the nations. Another 11. Now, this is the COVID relief bill. Another $11 billion to include support for global fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. COVID relief fund for tuberculosis, AIDS, and malaria.
Well, I do want to say this, and this is going off topic, but it kind of goes back to us as people. It's the world as it has become, right? So I was watching today. I love watching like archaeology stuff and secrets of the underground and things like that. There was one I was watching uncovering King Tut's tomb. Right, and they were saying that it went undiscovered for 3,000 years, right?
Okay.
So out of those, and they were saying it went undiscovered for 3,000 years.
Okay.
Why would anybody go and search for it? Like, what do you get out of searching for something, disturbing something that's peacefully at rest? Like, what to me, what is the drive to go and uncover a tomb? Like they said, all the rocks have been piled in. It's been completely covered up. The guys were breaking down walls, like excavators there, removing all the rubble and everything like that. What's the whole point behind that?
Well, I think part of it goes to wanting to know our past as humans. We go off of our taught beliefs as we were growing up as far as our religion. But, you've got even the Vatican coming out and saying some things now that, for instance, now that they're recognizing that there's probably life on other planets, which is something that was a big step for the Vatican. But when it comes to archaeology, they just actually recently found another kind of tomb type era where it dates back almost 1.8 million years, where they have found skeletal remains of Homo sapiens.
Isn't that crazy?
That turns the whole evolutional
thing
timeline around right now, because right now I think they only dated it back to like 275,000 years as Homo sapiens, and now they're carbon dating to 1.8 million.
It just tells you that science is not all what it's supposed to be. Sometimes
Well, science is always changing, and we as a civilization need to change with the science. With technology, we need to grow with it.
Well, just remember though, even with creation, or what was it called?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Well, we were just talking about, TJ.
Procreation?
No, not procreation. Evolution. Remember, they all said that we came from what? Monkeys and apes and gorillas and stuff like that. Everybody did, right? Isn't that that's basically what they were pushing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone has their own different beliefs, but that's what science says. If you're religious, it says, what was it on the third day? Or was it the seventh day? I cannot remember.
Seventh day. On the seventh day he rested.
One of those days that man was created. But still, I mean, so if you look at it and you look at Darwinism and everything like that, I still think, and people can send me hate mail on this one, I still think that we should still have a place in society that only the strong shall survive.
I mean, when you look at it, essentially that's what's happening.
Not with the government.
But when you look at how far in our 200 plus years of existence of our country. Have we not gotten involved on almost every continent?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying like unemployment. You got the people sitting out there getting new nails, buying new phones and shit, and they're not going out to go get a job or anything like that.
My sister told me there was a line at the Louis Vuitton shop in Tampa when the last stimulus came out. They were lined up. Everybody's got that stimmy check. The wife's going to Louis.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's not where the strong survive at that point.
No, well, I mean, you gotta, when we talk about our subject was about COVID relief and the stimulus money. We're going a couple different paradigms here, but when we're doing the paradigm shift to this, again, it goes back to the youth and the indoctrination of what we've done to our children. I mean,
well,
absolutely,
I think
100%.
I think the parents have forgotten about a lot of them until they get in trouble, and they're trying to figure out why are you getting in trouble because their lives are so consumed with the other things.
Well,
that are going on in
I
their
feel
lives.
that whole point is how technology has changed and how it's made everything so much easier because you can just give your kid a tablet. And
But do you think
shut
that's
up
for the
and give
better?
You,
You think that's for the better or the
fuck no.
worse? What
Sorry,
about you?
Sorry.
Well, no, I mean, this is the thing. We don't have a we need to reform police problem. We have a we need to reform parenting problem.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. But you walk around and you see all the kids on their parents' cell phone because they're sitting there watching cartoons and everything. Our neighbor does that all the time. It shuts them up.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the parent reforming portion I'm talking about.
The whole reason of why society is the way it is today is because technology has amassed. It's changed greatly over the years. I mean, you think about it from when your dad was a kid. There wasn't TVs at all, and now there's a TV in your hand basically. It's one of those things.
Well, you got a computer.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a different episode, and we're going to cut this one right now. TJ, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, to everybody, of course, check out what your local government's doing. Get, a chance to look into your congressmen, your senators, see what they're about, what they stand for. We got to start making a change on the local level and the federal level as far as being able to control the government, what they're doing, and get our freedoms back.
All right, Matt.
People just need to stop being lazy. Go out there and work for something. Don't just sit there and expect it to be given to you.
Because the government doesn't give you nothing for free.
Exactly.
My final thoughts are this. People, we got to quit being so complacent with life. We got to sit there. We got to start waking up, or we're going to lose this country. Visit us at AmericanCivilDebate.com, where we have no censorship. We're rebuilding our website, and we're making it special for everybody to come to be able to post what you want. All we ask is don't threaten to kill anybody or bodily harm to anybody. I mean, how simple can that be? I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking for something like this, and we've got it for you. Come visit us at AmericanCivilDebate.com, and let's talk about it. Everybody have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week.